Hey guys, Josh from HockeyReviewsForYou.com bringing you my full review of the Easton V9E hockey stick. I've been a big fan of the Stealth series for a long time now, so I was very excited to get an opportunity to try out the V9E. I've been using it for about a month now, and I have to say I've been very impressed with this stick so far. With all that being said, let's get right into the review. In terms of balance and weight, the V9E is both well balanced as well as relatively lightweight. Listed weights for this stick range in between 420 and 430 grams for a senior model. What I used for testing was a 75 flex senior model. This stick is also uncut, so there haven't really been any modifications made. The balance point is fairly close to the middle. I would say it's about right here on an uncut shaft, so just ever so slightly lower than the middle of the stick. So for the most part, it has a very balanced feel and is very lightweight. The shaft of the V9E is not too far off from what you're going to get from the Easton V9, with of course the main exception being the elliptical taper at the bottom of the shaft, which to be fair isn't going to make too much of a difference in terms of the overall in-hand feel of the stick, apart from if you do take a lot of face-offs and tend to drop your hand a little bit lower on the shaft, you will feel the roundness of the elliptical taper, but I didn't feel like this was detrimental to the overall feel of the stick itself. Now moving on to the main area of the shaft, it's pretty much identical, like I said, to the Easton V9, a very traditional feel and form factor. It's about a medium thickness. It features rounded corners and straight sidewalls, so very easy to get used to. There really isn't much of a kind of break-in period, if you will, as far as the stick feeling a little bit weird in your hands. It's just a very natural feel, which is something that I like about both the V9 and V9E. And then of course the stick is available in grip as well as clear coatings. I tested out the grip coating for the V9E this time around, which is generally my preference. It features of course Easton's grip texturing as well as a spiral texture going around the main part of the shaft, providing a little bit of additional grip. But again, if you don't like having that extra grip, a clear option is available that has pretty much a matte finish all the way throughout with no additional grip, allowing you to slide your hand quite freely. When it comes to puck feel, you're going to get a pretty interesting playing experience from the Easton V9E. The brand new Hypertoe blade is definitely more geared towards shooting the puck rather than puck feel, although personally I do feel that it excels pretty well at both of those things. As far as the design of the blade itself goes, Easton kind of went back to the drawing board for this particular blade and designed a blade around elite level shooting mechanics, where they noticed that a lot of elite level players, predominantly in the NHL, shot the puck the majority of the time off of the front third of their blade, closer to the toe, almost exactly where you see that solid orange V9E logo. Now because of this, they did a couple unique things to this particular blade to make it even better for shooting than any blade that they've ever come up with. And it definitely is noticeable in terms of how it feels. At its core, this is an AirX foam core blade. You're going to find 4 individual segmented cores running the length of the blade. The blade itself also does feature a taper, so it's going to be at its thickest point at the heel, and it progressively gets thinner and thinner as you get closer and closer to the toe. Because of this, blade also does have a slight flex point to it, mainly right in the middle of the blade, again just to add a little bit of additional pop to your shot. In all honesty, it's not something that you're actually going to notice, and for the most part the blade feels very accurate. It never feels like it's opening up when shooting the puck. To add to what is essentially the Hypertoe technology, you're going to find that again mainly in the solid orange area of the blade, there are extra reinforcements to make that toe area extra stiff, which again adds to the overall amount of pop you get from this particular blade, which is more than I've ever experienced from any other high-end stick, but we'll get into that a little bit more later. In terms of puck feel, this blade definitely feels very stiff overall, especially if you get towards the front half of the blade. At the heel and closer towards the middle, it definitely does have a slightly softer feel about it, but for the most part this is a very rigid feeling blade. It's very pingy and for the most part very unforgiving. So if you're one of those people that does like a softer feel to your blade, you might not enjoy the Hypertoe experience, but for the most part, if you're one of those people that just wants a lot of pop off of your shot and don't really mind having a slightly pingy feel, you're really going to enjoy using the Hypertoe blade on the Easton V9E. Shooting the puck in the V9E was better than expected. I think a lot of people look at the V9E model and they expected it to be a rebranded Easton Stealth RS or RS2 with, of course, the Hypertoe blade, but it's actually a lot different than that, both in its construction as well as how it feels. Of course, it does feature the elliptical taper, which is the main feature of the V9E. The elliptical taper is not only going to provide an ultra low kick point, a very quick release, as well as added torsional support because of the rounded shape, which is something that I'm personally a really big fan of. I've been using the elliptical taper stealth models ever since Easton first came out with it and have really enjoyed it. It's definitely best suited for wrist shots and snapshots, but it doesn't lack the ability to take slap shots and one-timers simply because of the lower kick point. It may feel a little bit strange at first, but it is something that the stick is still very capable of. One of the things that I think a lot of people haven't realized with the V9E is that the shaft is completely different from past Stealth RS models. It features the same or a similar unicarbon shaft as the Easton V9 model, or the Makos if you will, and I found it to be a lot stiffer than past Stealth models have been. Normally I would use an 85 flex at least on an Easton Stealth RS, but with the V9E I felt totally comfortable going down to a 75, and like I said, it definitely feels a lot stiffer because of this new shaft, and also seems to kick a little bit harder, probably due to the extra stiffness. I'm not sure how this is going to affect the durability, and I will talk about that a little bit later, but there definitely is a noticeable difference in the amount of kick you get from the V9E in comparison to Stealth models because of the brand new shaft design. As far as the hypertoe blade goes, like I mentioned, it is extremely responsive and provides a tremendous amount of pop when shooting the puck. I use the E28 curve for review. Expect a review on the E28 curve alone to come very, very soon. And I have to say that the hypertoe blade, along with this particular curve, when you do shoot the puck off of that front third of the blade, there is a noticeable amount of extra pop that you wouldn't normally get from most hockey sticks, at least the ones that I've personally used, and it really is the highlight of the V9 series in general, whether you buy the V9 or the V9E. So overall, shooting the puck, I have to say, was really, really good with the V9E. When it comes to the durability of the Easton V9E, I think that's something that is more or less up in the air. Before I get into any backstories or explanations, I want to say that right off the bat, the stick that I use for testing has not experienced any issues with durability whatsoever, other than just some minor wear and tear that you would expect a hockey stick to go through, such as scratches and paint chips and stuff like that. With all of that being said, I know that the elliptical taper from Easton, while it is proven performance-wise, does not have the best track record when it comes to overall durability, and even myself, I've broken several elliptical taper shafts from Easton over the years. As far as the Easton V9E goes, they have changed up, of course, that top shaft portion, so I'm not sure if that's going to have any impact on durability. From my experiences, the weak point tends to be where the shaft actually turns from a standard rectangle shape to that rounded elliptical shape. That's just where I've broken the majority of the elliptical taper sticks that I have broken. But for the most part, if you're one of those people that doesn't break a lot of sticks, you shouldn't have any issues with the V9E. But if it's something that does worry you, then you might want to stay away from the V9E and go for the standard Easton V9, which is different when it comes to performance, but still very, very good. Alright guys, that's it for my review of the Easton V9E. Like I mentioned earlier, I've always been a big fan of the overall feel and performance of the elliptical taper from Easton ever since it first released. So I was very excited with the release of the Easton V9E. I think that the new shaft definitely makes for a stronger kick in your shot, but it still has that ultra low kick point thanks to the elliptical taper. And of course the hypertoe construction of the blade makes for a tremendous amount of pop when shooting the puck, which is really all you can ask for from a hockey stick. I really like the balance, I like the feel of the shaft, and overall it's just one of those sticks that I feel is almost tailor-made for my own personal preferences when it comes to hockey sticks in general, and I really, really like the V9E. As of right now, it is my go-to stick. So if you guys are interested in purchasing one of these for yourself, be sure to check out my website, hockeyreviewsforyou.com. You can find a direct link to that down below in the description, and you will find buy it now links with the best prices online, including exclusive coupon codes to get yourself some additional discounts if you are interested in ordering one of these for yourself. So be sure to go ahead and check that out. Again, the link can be found down below in the description. If you did enjoy today's video, be sure to support it with a like. If you have any questions regarding the V9E or any suggestions for other pieces of equipment that you would like to see reviewed, feel free to leave a comment down below. Any suggestions are greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already for more reviews on all the latest and greatest hockey gear. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.